Now?
See John in there?
Yeah, John, you're being recorded.
Okay. Turn this. That's how you move it around.
Oh, now I'm looking at Jeff.
You can move it up and down too if you wish.
I don't
You have
really.
to turn this like that to loosen it.
Does it pick up subtle sound?
Yeah, subtle, very subtle sounds.
How do you erase all this
Like
garbage that
belching.
we just put
Okay,
on?
and then this, if you want to zoom in, T for
I'm
telephone.
going to zoom in on you, John.
See how that works?
Oh my God.
Isn't that wonderful? Just made you mad.
Oh, it's really sort of awful.
God, I feel like I'm being sucked into it.
Okay, simple?
We're recording now. Say it again. Dave, will you say that again?
Talk.
You like
Iron Dave.
You want to get the things established here about where we are on the ladder.
Right, the hierarchy.
Okay, am I the youngest?
Or you sound proud of it.
No. I'm training.
Okay.
Apprentice, training for
So did you say Dave go first?
No.
You could go first, couldn't
Well, sure
It
you
doesn't
could.
matter, I don't care.
Sure you
If
could.
you want to, you could.
Well, what I did
Baby.
was last night, since I have access to a computer and the rest of you don't, or I shouldn't say a word processor, and some of the rest of you don't. And the only two people who brought something tonight, interestingly enough, besides myself, are other people who have access to a word processor. Does that tell you something, fans?
I didn't do mine on a word processor, Dave.
You should have. Did you write yours?
Yeah, just in
But I
longhand.
think
I
his
told you.
experience on a word processor probably
Okay.
made it easier for him to do what he did.
What does it mean? What does it symbolize? Though? That's what I'm interested to know about the rest of us.
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
later.
Oh.
That's not important now.
I came unprepared, I'm sorry.
That's good.
I'm glad.
You're sitting on the right side of the room
I'm correct.
with the other people. who
You're on
came
the left side of the room, mate. Must be we're more radical than that.
Yes, I want to be left.
The only reason I did this is because I made a commitment to myself and to John Beams that if I were to ever do this again, I would write my own script rather than play your script.
I don't remember you making that commitment to me.
Maybe I just made it.
I remember you muttering something at the end of the show.
Babble. That's what the babble was about. Okay, you want to hear this, anybody?
Yes.
That's what I'm
maybe.
hearing.
Why not?
Read a few lines.
Okay.
I think.
How long is it, Dave?
Some of us has to go home sometimes.
Oh, here, I don't have to. I'll just pass them out.
Well, we have to read now.
I don't, and we'll all read silently on the video.
Is this like a classroom?
Dave, do you have a copy machine at your house too?
No,
Where did you get this?
Is this like classroom work or
it doesn't
something?
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, if there are any questions, why?
What's a briefcase suit?
Carrying a briefcase. A suit means that's the person that I called him. Suit.
Oh.
Do you get the idea here?
No.
This man dressed in a suit exits from the Chamber of Commerce. And in all of these, we have the videotape running.
It's running.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about that. That's not.
That was just sort of
This is confusing for me.
That was a good ad lib, though. Thank you for being so compliant. That's important, too, to be compliant,
Yes, I'm glad you did that.
especially when your elder is talking. And attentive. Compliant and attentive.
You're certainly.
Is this the improv or you
Tape
just?
about over now?
Does anybody have any questions about the first skit? Okay, let's go on to the second one. Any questions about the second skit?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, now let's put that in the machine and see what we've got.
Hey, it's broadcast quality, Dave. I can tell you that.
You have a VCR up
Fully
here?
dressed?
Yeah. I especially like the shabbily dress part because that's I always dress that way,
Yeah, me too. Except tonight.
except tonight. Well, I'm still shabbily dressed. Even my sweater was dirty, but you pointed out.
I'd like to know whose idea was this anyway.
No, right.
It started with somebody here, not me.
No,
You called me.
It started with the harmonic convergence.
Yeah, well, who picked up on it? Who's the first one?
One
to
of the
say,
members.
"Let's do this"? Did you, Jeff?
No.
Who'd you get a call from? Johnny? Who'd you get a call from? God?
Yeah.
God was nice.
Well, John
Well, that's-
Haynes,
Same thing.
at the same time.
That lightning struck you at the same time, John?
Was this your idea, John?
No, I got a call from Jeff.
No, you didn't. I figured we started with either, here's what happened. The two of you were sitting over at the deli, right? Said, let's, let's do this. And let's get Lambert, because he's always a sucker.
Well, it was sort of started that way, didn't it?
Sort of that
A
way.
little bit. John, you want to read your script?
Sure. Okay, well, let's see, we need to rearrange people here a little bit. I need you two to trade places, if you will.
Trade
Right,
places?
right.
No, I think
It's like-
it'd just be good the way it
Okay.
is.
You've seen the script.
I've seen the script.
Oh.
Mine is not a script, mine is a song I'm going to share with you. And it's to a tune that you may
You know,
recognize.
you're familiar with his famous songs that he's written over the
Yes,
years.
he does a fine job.
He is a good songwriter.
You ready?
No, go ahead.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let me tell you a little story about a man named Dave, a poor social worker, barely kept his pension paid. Took his little pen for some piggy muck to rake. Went out through the ground, come a bubbling gray. Panthers, that is. Left wing agitator, commie simp, lefty rag. Every single night he would hear the news, queer baiting, commie hating, loading up the pews. His friends all said, Dave, move away from there. Whenever Ronnie spake, he'd be pulling out his hair. Gray, that is. Real Panther style, curly do. So he went on a plane to a Spanish-talking land, a-traveling with the singers who he couldn't understand, rubbing shoulders with the lefties and the new society. He built him a clinic in the midst of misery, Sandinista land, that is. Gringo cotton pickers, ugly American boycott busters. Till he got back home, they was hunting for some crude. With old Saddam hiking prices, Uncle Sam was screwed. So they took up the missiles and they blew them all away. And Dave took the mic and he taught us how to pray. For revolution, that is. End of greed. Less oil, more thinking. Now, the moral of the story is to bust your head. So sneaks like Dan Heath will never be a Fed. And if you get so tired that you like a 6-foot grave, just sharpen up your pencil and go marching after Dave Lambert, that is. Fort Wayne Gold, old man fun time, dances with greens. Dave Lambert, this is your life. For he's a radical fellow, for he's a radical fellow, for he's a radical fellow, which nobody can deny.
We're not supposed to be doing this. No, come on, this is.
This is it.
No.
Everybody sees- You gotta blow out these radical candles, Dave. That's what I'm down.
Flamingos. Palm trees.
John, that was a great song.
Shit. You shouldn't ought to do this.
What's the matter, get you blow?
It hurts.
Cigarettes, that is.
Do one candle at a time.
So what happens when I blow all these fuckers out here? What happens then? Is the party over?
Starts, that's all.
That's when it starts, man.
Oh, eat the cake? Well, hell, I can do that.
All right.
He's a radical fellow, which nobody can deny.
Oh, yes, we can.
Based on that win, I said you're in for at least 20, 30 more good rallies.
Really?
I think you've got enough left in the.
Even with smoking?
Yeah.
Even with smoking, thank you, John. Oh, this is really nice. I'm still expecting some kind of trick here. Sorry, John.
There's no limit when it pop out of that cake.
They won't be big enough to fool with.
Why,
John, this is all on tape, you know.
That's okay, he was caught drumming the other day.
what?
He's the new Fort Wayne's Robert LeBlanc. We have Iron Man Dave and John Bly over here.
John Mead.
What are the rest of you gonna
Oh, we got some apples for the rest of us.
eat? You have some nutritious food?
Yes.
Oh,
Would you like to carve that someplace or?
carve that someplace?
Yeah. Like up here?
Well, sure.
I thought you might.
So, anybody else have anything prepared?
I do. Should we divvy up the cake first, or?
How long did it take you to compose that?
You don't have to answer that, John.
No, you're right.
That's like asking an artist how
I
long
know.
it took to paint the picture.
I know, all your life, right?
Yeah.
You have a knife or something?
Plus
I
20.
gave you the knife.
20 minutes.
Is that a Shinsu knife?
First time used, Dave.
Ooh.
What is it, samurai,
Right.
samurai?
Cake
rifle?
cutter there.
Samurai,
Ginzu.
ginzu. How big a
Samurai
piece?
confectioner.
Should I cut this in 6 equal pieces?
No, actually, we may be joined by a couple of others, so make it
8?
8 or so.
Well, you shouldn't be eating too much of this rich stuff.
It's your cake,
Good.
Dave.
He's gonna take some of
It's
it.
my
I get
cake.
the idea.
You baked the cake. I shouldn't ask that.
An exploited worker at
Let's say
Scott's.
John Edgerton is primarily responsible for the cake, but let's don't ask who baked it.
Okay.
It wasn't homemade.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I did that pretty well.
Now, can we have a cigarette?
Sure. Can we smoke up here?
Yes.
We can?
Yeah.
Did you check that out?
It's okay, Dave.
Who with? Who did you check it out with?
This is your life.
This is my life.
Please.
Is there anybody who would not like cake? Hey, no shit, now this isn't why we came up here tonight, right? This is just like a
Dave, we've just started, man. Just serve the cake and you'll see what happens next.
It's only the beginning.
Here, I'll help you, Dave.
Oh, thanks, John. I'm so nervous here.
Thank you.
John, would you sing your song again sometime? It was so good.
It was great.
I'd like you to record that on CDs. We do need 2 more plates.
Oh, are we
More plates.
low on
But
plates?
there might be some that are bonded together.
Yeah, these are,
Bonded?
like- yeah, these are,
Somebody's bonding? here?
They're all male plates.
Oh,
ooh,
Here's another one. Dave.
ooh, more bonding.
Giving away many.
Or we
more.
could use a fork here.
bondage.
Right here, Jeffy.
Now, I've cut each of these in very small pieces. If you want more, ask me.
Now, here's how it's going to work, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thanks, compa.
Thank you. Ooh. You all.
The
person presenting could be there, and we keep switching with John. Dave, would you resume your former seat? I mean, we had a little gift to go along with this, in recognition of your...
A little gift?
Yes.
Why a little one?
Well, it all depends. This is really a big gift, actually. Some words.
There's a little picture of George Bush on this one.
Oh, no. The 1992 Z calendar? Ooh. I was going to buy one of these things.
Mr. Beams knew you would, but he decided we'd get
This
in there
is
first.
neat. Somebody wrote on it, though.
That's why we had to give it away.
Huh?
That's why we wanted to give it away, because it was already written on.
You want to do a dramatic reading for us, Uncle?
A dramatic reading? Sure. Wow. Shall I sing it or read it?
Sing.
Sing it? These are the words of John Edgerton,
I'll deny it.
This will be immortalized.
immortalized. You're going to deny it? Sometimes when I stand beside your towering frame,
It was meant to be serious.
right. Well, and I try to be serious, it look like towering frame. I feel like I'm being unfolded.
Enfolded.
I'm being as serious as I can. That's why I like typewriters.
I tried to write
Processors.
like a typewriter.
There's nothing wrong with your writing. Must be these damn glasses.
Used to read typewritten.
Now, when you all wrote these, did you read what other people wrote?
No.
No.
Oh.
So I don't know what anyone else has on there.
Oh, good. Sometimes when I stand beside your towering frame, I feel like I'm being enfolded by a great... Please help me.
John, maybe you could read it to him.
Sacred?
Yeah, great sacred oak tree.
Good. That's what I thought it was. Sacred oak tree.
That's what he wrote on my birthday thing last year.
Different types of oaks.
Right.
It's a chestnut oak and your burr oak.
A
Yeah, you
sacred.
got a little present in there.
Thanks.
Was he a sacred oak also?
You still remember what you wrote, John?
I can't remember.
When we talk together of the work that needs to be done, it means much to me that you have so much heart for the community of the forest, the earth, and all of us. Much love, John E. Well, that's very, very nice of you to write that.
It's the truth.
And that's the truth. And was the truth when you wrote about John too?
Yeah.
Yes.
We stand together, Dave, as two acorns.
Thank you, John. This is written by Socks, a message to President Bush. If your new world order doesn't have a place for my compañero Dave, then I want no part of it. And agitation Socks. Oh. Do you really mean that?
I mean,
That's cool.
That was nice.
and I assume and hope that it doesn't.
Well, you know he doesn't,
I know. That's why I'm willing to write that.
and you want no part of it? Huh?
No. That's sort of like if I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution.
Right. Okay, and this is from Jefferino. Boy, Dave, your energy and persistence is an inspiration to me. Now this is written with a little arrow down to, is that George Bush there?
Yeah, I think so.
As if George is saying this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is George Bush saying, boy, Dave, your energy and persistence, it's an inspiration to me. Someday I'll include you in my memoirs. Do I look disturbed by your blasted ideas? Heck no. Those grapes are just darn sour. Thanks for all your camaraderie.
New spelling.
Oh, spelling.
New eight.
I always do that if I'm not sure. I know I may have made it fucked up here. You don't have to tell me. That's
Okay.
nice of you to say that, Jeff. But you didn't say that, George said that.
Came from brother.
Dave, this is written by John B. Dave, swaying in the shimmering palm of your humor, trundling in the path of your leadership, listening to your wise and loving mind, jolting with your pounding nails, and hammering rhetoric, I will always love you. Thank you. I think.
I think you're welcome.
Jolting with your pounding nails and hammering rhetoric.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to you, Ron, right? You take that as
Just
good.
tone
Okay.
it down next time, Dave.
That's why I brought him along, but I will always love you. Is this being recorded? Can you say that? Will you say that?
Did I say that? Did I write that?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I thought that was, you were reading.
John B, it says.
Yeah, I guess I did. Now, what's your question?
Will you say that?
I thought you said I just did.
No, you wrote that, I think.
Oh,
I want to
you
hear
mean now will I say it or in the future?
Yeah, right
Now?
now.
Wait a minute.
Don't make him say it.
On camera?
I'm not making him do it.
He's asking me if I would.
Yeah.
Would you like me to?
Rolling.
No? Would you prefer that I not?
No, I would like to hear it from you, but I'm not going to press.
On camera, on tape, or can we cut the
It doesn't
tape?
have to be on tape. If you feel more comfortable.
Do you want me to say it into the mic or directly to you?
I'd like for you to do it completely nude into the mic.
He will. He will.
No,
No. My windows are open.
That'd be the one pleasurable. Dave, I will always love you.
Now, what if I never get a chance to see that tape, this tape?
Well,
That's possible. I might not see that.
you heard me say it, didn't you?
Yeah, but you were looking that way.
Would you like me to say it looking good?
Yeah.
Dave, I will always love you, Dave.
Thank you. I will always love you too.
As long as you keep supplying me with cigarettes.
Well, it's conditional love. That's Robert Glass. It's okay.
Conditional love is okay.
Better than no love at all.
It's very manly, actually.
Very manly.
Yes,
Conditional love is very manly.
only effeminate people offer unconditional love.
I can't imagine Sykes is able to take it, he's laughing so hard.
Okay, this is
Some
the
love is
last
out
one
of
here
here.
is from Ron. Dave, your spirit drives, pushes me forward to stretch my conscious contacts with the world. Play on in shades of gold and purple and green. Ooh, those are nice colors. May you be revitalized and move on and on. And on. Ron.
How come you could read Ron's writing so well?
Yeah.
Good question. I don't know. Well, he's,
He writes like a word
I,
processor?
no, I'm more used to his reading his writing. I'm not used to reading your writing. You have a very feminine quality about your writing that's very appealing.
You talking to John?
John E. does, yeah. And that's very appealing. I was just thrown off guard of it because that's the end part of your nature that I haven't had the treat of experiencing before. You're welcome.
Dave, can I share something else with you? In addition to
What he wrote there.
what I wrote there.
Oh, a rebuttal?
Yeah.
You're gonna take all that.
The other side of your life.
The other side?
No, just another reflection.
Oh, another side.
I'm waiting your answer. It's my house, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Reflections of a Compañero, February 1984. Sitting in the Managua heat after a month of life-changing cotton picking and brigadistizing on the eve of my return home. Filled to overflowing the experience of the past month. Wondering how in the world I could ever find a way home. To really connect with family and friends who hadn't made the passage. I was scared. Scared that I'd be alone, raw, emotionally open through the dusty road to Puntañata. Alone to deal with the wounding that I knew would continue once I got home. To read of the next outrage committed against an enemy I now knew was friend in common. Once I got back there, back to the place I'd left as home, and returned to now as what? What would I do? Who would be there to hear me, to share the pain of this struggle? When I'd start to shake with rage or quake with tears, could I possibly turn to who could say, in honesty, I understand? I mean, I have all these brigadistas that I've lived with for the last month, but shit, they're all from New York or Vermont. I'm the only one from Indiana, solo, under the Managua soul, hot and wondering. And then who should show up on the shores of this new world? Who else? And I still remember the first of the now familiar Compañero hugs, surrounding my tiny, alone self with these enormous arms. There in the Nicaraguan sunshine. You came too there, out of the blue, into my arms, into Nika's arms, into all the brigades to come. I don't know if I can say how much that meant, that there was one other soul who would know what I'd need to say or how to hold the silence once we got back to Hoogerland. We may only have connected briefly that afternoon, but it was enough. Enough to send me back home again, knowing that I wasn't to be so alone. It was enough. And then we were back home, busy organizing, doing slideshows, reserving rooms in the library, making up mailing lists on those now familiar computers, marching to the Federal Building again and again. So much organizing in those first months and years back. And you know what I remember? I remember you coming down to my little office in the dungeon basement of Friends of the Third World, closing the door and beginning to tell the truth about the pain. Your pain, personal pain, and living in the age of Reagan with a heart touched by the Nicaraguan dust. It hurt, and you cried, and I held you, and I cried, and God, we both needed it. Sobbing like little boys there in that little room, knowing what the other one was feeling. Knowing that we weren't alone, that we could go on. Compa, every day since then, when a piece of the world gets by my armor between inflict another of the Empire's wounds. I go on in some measure because I know I can't carry it alone. Don't have to. Your agitating self is out there in some corner of my town feeling the same way, ready to walk the next line alongside. I feel a little less alone than my compa is there by my side. And I'm thankful. Real thankful.
Well, there's a lot of stuff with me. A lot of stuff. And I don't know how to thank you, how to respond.
I just needed to say it. You don't need to say it. I just needed to tell you that I think about those times more often than I tell you that I think about them. Yeah, they're important. You know.
It's kind of weird. You and I talked a little bit in the truck on the way back to get the stuff. And I was telling Ron that how disconnected I feel from a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of folks. How I'm aware that I really need that. And I think all of you do too. And how often I don't do anything about that. And I think it's a goddamn shame that I don't do anything about that. I was telling Ron in group tonight, I was kind of tired. And there was a part of me that didn't want to come over here and, do stuff, but wasn't quite sure what it was we were going to do, but do stuff. But that I was glad that I did. I was glad that you were along too, because Ron was telling me some of the stuff about where he's been, where he's at now. It seems like well, it just seems like I don't do that very well. I don't stay connected like I would like to. And then I think, well, shit. What's that going to take to stay connected? I mean, that's going to take some energy. It's going to take the commitment. It's going to take some time. It's going to take certainly some patience, some tolerance, some endurance, some love. It's going to take a lot of that stuff, and I don't have that much available, it seems. So then I kind of just shut it off and go back to doing what I think, not what I need to be doing, but what needs to be done. Sometimes there's a difference, a big difference. So I'm really glad that I know people like you. I'm really glad that I know you all. You have been, you continue to be my life, large part of it. I hope that's true for a long time. I do deserve this recognition right now. In fact, it's long overdue. What took you 6, 7 years?
We've been waiting
The
every
plan.
Monday night for the last 7 years.
You always-
It's just finally made it.
Either cancel out or you leave early before you actually get started.
I had this all planned, all scripted, right? You knew what you were gonna say years ago.
We were gonna do this at the last green meeting, but you left early. You ate your speech, you left.
We're gonna do it at the HIMSA meeting and you left here.
In fact, you weren't even sure I was coming back tonight, right?
That's why we needed an enforcer.
That's why.
There was a reason for getting the locations.
There was a reason why I showed up at Dave's house instead of over here.
I should have known. Well, thank you all. Now, let's get down to important work.
I gotta go home.
Oh, thanks a lot, guys. We ought to do this more often. What? What are you laughing about? I mean, on a
Yeah,
date
what are you
more
laughing
often.
I was just sort of laughing at Jeff's tone of this, like, we should, and where is the time?
Oh,
Every 7 years we will do this.
no, I've been thinking about it too lately. Creeping in. I don't feel real connected with the Unitarian meeting house that much. It's been going in a different direction in that place, and that's been, and that doesn't have a spiritual quality to me that much anyway. And it drains energy from me. I like getting together with the men, you know, the group to get some kind of a grounding.
Yeah, that's when it stops being fun, and that's when it starts being, taking more out of it.
Yeah.
Get it back.
Yeah. So, we need to be doing something for this other group of people. It's tough creating a new order of our own, a new society, and maintaining a community with our own family, you know, that just the distance. You know, distance in communications.
Now, if somebody would give us a grant to do this,
Someone can write a grant.
well, that's easily enough done. I mean, any one of us probably do that. Write the grant.
Hey, we got here without a grant tonight?
Yeah, but it's been 7 years. No, it hasn't been 7 years.
Was it '84 that you guys were in Nicaragua together, and you came back? And it was that
Friends.
late winter still that, what's that? And you're still friends, yeah.
This
Came
is
back
kind of-
and
this is
still-
kind of the conclusion. isn't it?
I
What?
think at the end of that, you forgot to say goodbye.
Right.
Yeah, and then you spoke, I remember the first time hearing both of you guys
You do.
at
They did
Beacon
that.
Heights.
They did that real long presentation at the library. and everybody fell
Gosh, you
asleep.
don't have to remember those. This
Yeah, I
is the good
remember.
stuff.
That took,
Dude, I was at
that
that.
took about 3 of the years.
I remember Beacon Heights, that was my catalyst for starting to initiate action, to get involved in action.
You can't blame us.
No. Was I blaming you? Did it sound like I was blaming you?
It could have been a prelude to a blame.
Maybe I should thank Reagan for initiating
Yes.
you guys to get down there. You know?
No, blame him. Don't thank him. Thank us. Blame Reagan.
Blame Reagan.
Let's get our politics.
Okay, I'll just thank Reagan for the library that he donated.
Yeah, right.
Okay. We could go visit that sometime together. Raise it.
The library that contains all of the things that the president didn't know.
With hollowed halls.
This Does anyone else have a presentation to make in the presenter's chair? While I get some chips.
Cake or safe?
Maybe, Dave, may I have another piece of cake?
Oh, you bet, John.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Let me tell you a little story about that cake. When I ran into Gus tonight, we talked about buying one of those tubes and writing stuff on it. And I was running late as usual, late. And so Kyle and Camille were with me. And I grabbed the cake and I asked them, I said, "This is a good choice." "Yeah, that's a really good choice." And I got up here to the counter and I asked the woman where they had these squeegees that we could write on. She said, "Well, they're over there, but she says we can write something on there for free." I said, "Okay, it's a deal." And then I handed it to her and she said, "Well, what do you want me to write?" And I hadn't thought of anything to write yet because I was planning on it. So Camille, I looked down at Camille and she said, "Why don't you just say we love you, Dave?" I said, "That's good, we'll write that down."
So it's Camille's message?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really good.
And she don't, I don't think I know her, do I?
She knows who you are. I tried to explain to her tonight.
You tried to explain to her tonight?
I tried to, she's been around you. She knows who you are.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, you were at the Florida Kanye thing for a while.
Hmm.
She was out there on the floor at the same time you were out there with the family dancing.
Oh. Okay, so it's not like a complete stranger.
No.
Well, that was a nice little story.
Well, thanks.
Too bad you couldn't come up with something else.
I'd like to take other people's stuff.
I know.
Actually, I did have something I wanted to say. You know, something today made me think about my father's father, my grandfather. He was a farmer all his life, and one of my memories of him is getting up real early in the morning and going down and milking the cows. But then he wasn't milking them all by hand. They were using a machine, but nothing like they are now. And I remember him carrying 2 full milk cans, one in each hand, from the barn to the spring house. And those things were massive. I mean, I picked up the empty cans today, and it's enough to carry 2 empty ones, but to carry 2 full ones full of milk. And my image of him, when I was wake up I think one early morning or one late night, find out that my grandfather had died. It was my first brush with death, and I couldn't believe it because he represented to me this, life itself. He was so strong. He probably mostly represented man himself because I don't remember him saying a whole lot. He was real quiet. And I was thinking some about you tonight, and a couple of people, when we talk about doing this, a couple of people had said, Dave seems kind of out of sorts lately, and the more I reflected on that, I felt that too, but it also made me feel out of sorts, because I am so used to seeing your presence and drawing strength and hope and courage and renewal from being at meetings with you and being around you, and feeling you kind of out of sorts or maybe depressed or discouraged or wondering where we go from here left me kind of feeling that same way. And I realized what a deep connection I have with you, and sometimes the connection that we make at events I value very much, like the one time you gave me some pawpaw seeds that your son brought back, and how you talked really lovingly the last 2 years about you doing a garden over there at the community gardens. And, it always feels good to make that kind of connection with you, open beyond the day-to-day stuff working in the political trenches. I love you, Dave. There's nothing I value more than those big hugs that I get from you. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Huh?
You want me to tell me, I don't have to tell?
Don't have to do anything.
Okay. We'll go after him. Daphne said to give you a big hug for her, so part of that's for her.
Oh, which part? First part or the last part? Doesn't matter.
Both. And she said, those big hugs of yours have meant a lot to her. She's been thinking her back.
But you're right about all this stuff, I think, as far as I'm concerned, 'cause, you know, I think, when Ron and I were
Ron.
I knew.
You really
I just didn't know what I was gonna
You
say.
really-
I know who you are.
Remember me, thank God.
He really is showing the patriarch here.
He is.
Slow,
I didn't
deliberate
need any help with that. No, it's not important. No, I shared with Ron that when he said that he wanted to talk to me tonight, I had no idea that he would be this devious, though. No idea at all. Deviant, yes, but not just devious.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I take back everything that I said. But I told him that I thought that one of the, that I thought the reason that he wanted to talk to me tonight was to tell me that he was leaving. And he said, well, the thought had occurred to him before. He just hasn't found somebody who would pay him the kind of salary that he's making in family and children's services and doing as little work as he's doing there.
Not exactly what I said.
Something
On
like
tape,
that.
Ron. He's paraphrasing.
I'm
It's all going to be
paraphrasing.
used against me.
Okay, so I'm paraphrasing. But I think, for me, I don't like recognizing losses, losing relationships. And, you know, you mentioned Beck earlier. I think that's one of the things that all of us, in our own way, kind of brought it to my attention that no relationship lasts forever. It just doesn't. And any relationship could conceivably end just like that. And I don't think about that much with about, you know, with people that are important to me. I just figure you fucking people are going to be around here forever. I mean, look at you. None of you smoke. Some of you exercise. You eat the right things. You're much younger than I am. And I've got this cough that I think is a piece of cake caught in my
You've
throat.
got some
It's not-
cider below you too, Dave.
It may be the cider. It's not cigarettes. And I smoke. So odds are that I will be leaving long before the rest of you. So you're going to have to deal, if necessary, with my rather than dealing with your real spooky end of a relationship. And I don't think about that. I didn't think about that much with, I just don't think about that with people. I just figured you're going to be around forever. And we're going to go on forever. Is that a good thing to think?
Why not?
That's a good thing to think, why not?
Well, hello, Rick.
Hello, Rick.
How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Jeff.
How you doing, compadre?
Well, cake, cider.
Cake and cider, let me cut.
Anything would be fine.
Anything?
Haven't had
It's
supper.
not my cigarette.
Haven't had supper yet.
Oh.
Apples?
Oh, fresh,
He's getting ready now.
Just walked right in.
He starts to work.
that's good.
We knew you need.
another plate.
Sock always runs away from me.
He can use
Are
mine.
you? Huh?
He can
I
use
don't think he
mine.
wants to. You want to use it?
We didn't
He
ask.
didn't drool on it.
As long as he didn't drool, I don't think there's any drool on any of them. I checked.
No, there's none on mine.
Oh, here's clean.
Oh, I know this is gonna hurt.
got one?
Yeah. There you go.
Johnny looks so pained.
I'll just do it with one hand.
Cider.
That's for Rick. You can use it right there if you want.
Okay, here, Rick.
No,
I'm staffing that anyway, so. And you're standing right
You're
here.
doing a good job, too. You're doing a good job.
It's okay. That's okay to your, in the center.
Ah,
How you doing?
You just wash your hair, didn't you?
Well, about 7 o'clock this morning.
Really? How do you keep it so fresh and light?
It just falls out.
Does it? So anyway, as I was saying,
we've been having to listen to Dave
people,
This
is the
might have
most.
not been a good idea after all.
Listen, I want to tell you guys that I have been in a lot of meetings with most of you. Maybe not all at the same time, but a lot of meetings, a lot of get-togethers, a lot of gatherings. And this is the only time, tonight is the only time that I can remember that each of you have so politely sat and pretended as if you're listening attentively to everything I'm saying. And I don't think I don't appreciate that, because I do.
What
Is he
minute you say?
finished yet, Ron? Tell me when he's done.
Good thing we got a tape we can play back.
Yeah, after he's dead.
It's a decongestant sometimes.
Or congested. Well, gifts, where are the rest of the gifts?
You're about to receive them.
I didn't bring one.
Oh. Yes, Rick.
No, I didn't know if that was a long pause or what that was.
Oh, I get it. No, I was done. I was just kind of sitting here, relaxing, enjoying. So, that was a hike, right? I went through all that fucking work for nothing. I sat down at my computer and I racked my brain.
How long did it take you to write that?
5 minutes. But it's not how long it takes. You said it yourself.
It's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime.
This is what you referred
Oh, have you heard that?
Oh, John, will you sing this?
Sing it
Again?
again, John. Sing it into the camera.
It's got a tune that goes
Let me
with
take
it.
it.
It's on tape already.
Yeah, but we want to hear it again.
John, sit over here for light.
We knew sooner or later to come to this.
You got your haircut.
Yeah,
First he cuts off his beard, now all his hair.
with my
to.
back
I
to my
suppose you're gonna
comrades.
be, are you right-handed now too?
Right-handed? New way of holding this? Yep, everything's changing, Rick.
John, kind of
I
open
joined the
yourself up to
military,
the,
they told me I'm too old.
kind of open yourself up to the camera.
Oh, you're not too old.
Yeah, that's
for
it.
Reserves.
Really? Okay, good.
Are you ready?
Do you want any background accompaniment or?
That's the wrong key though.
Thanks, Rick.
Is this gonna be rap or? Yeah.
Ready? Come listen to a story about a man named Dave. A poor social worker barely kept his pension paid. Took his little pen for some piggy muck to rake. When up through the ground came a bubbling gray. Panthers, that is. Left-wing agitator. Commie simp, lefty rag. Every single night, I'm going to change key a little bit. Every single night he would hear the news. Queer baiting, commie hating, loading up the pews. His friends all said, Dave, move away from there. Whenever Ronnie spake, he'd be pulling out his hair. Gray, that is. Real Panther style. Curly-do. So he went on a plane to a Spanish-talking land, a-traveling with the singers who he couldn't understand. Rubbing shoulders with the lefties and the new society, he built him a clinic in the midst of misery. Sandinista land, that is. Gringo cotton pickers, ugly American boycott busters. He got back home, they was hunting for some crude. With old Saddam hiking prices, Uncle Sam was screwed. So they took up the missiles and they blew them all away. And Dave took the mic and he taught us how to pray. For revolution, that is. End of greed. More oil, less oil, more thinking. Sorry about that. That's more thinking. Depends on what audience.
That was the Kiwanis yesterday, right?
Yeah. Now, the moral of the story is to bust your head. So sneaks like Dan Heath will never be a Fed. And if you get so tired that you like a 6-foot grave, just sharpen up your pencil and go marching after Dave Lambert, that is. Fort Wayne Gold, old man fun time. Dances with greens. That's it.
Would you, this is the second time I've heard this tonight. This is the first time you've heard it?
Yeah, it's the first time.
Yeah.
It's,
Any reactions?
right on the target.
It's good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good composition, I
Yeah.
mean, lyrics, everything was just,
I'm glad you brought the singer in from Tennessee.
however, when you said Dan Heath, but I was paying attention the second time,
Uh-huh.
there wasn't much audience reaction there,
Is that because they don't know who he is?
I think.
You know why they don't know who he is? Because you're so effective. Don't you remember going up to Dan Heath's office and rattling his cage?
I know who Jill Long is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There you go now.
Yeah.
Dan Heath was the aide, wasn't he?
Dan Heath was shaking in his boots, and Dave Lambert was bringing down the thunder from the skies.
John, embellishing a bit.
We was all shaking. Half of us because we thought we were going to be embarrassed. Because we thought he was going to be violent. Left-wing rap.
Oh, you guys.
Didn't anybody invite Dan here tonight?
I did.
Couldn't make it, Dave. He really wanted to come to present
I
an
said he
opposing
couldn't wear a suit
perspective.
and a white
He was on the jet with Sununu, right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Dan Heath or Dan White?
All the Dans.
All the
He
days.
called all of them.
You don't know any children of left-wing people with the name Dan, do you?
The parents are named Dan, or the children?
Children.
The children are named Dan?
Is there a camera on? Do we need this light?
I don't need that light.
Would you like it?
Rick doesn't need that.
Here, Rick.
Now the questions, Mr. Ritter.
Yeah,
Still
thanks.
under digestion.
No, I wasn't in Madison yesterday.
I'm going to write a children's primer on political science and call it One Dan After Another.
One Dan after another. When will you do that? Soon.
Right after I publish this on CDs.
Where are you gonna publish that?
On CDs.
On CDs. Certificates of deposit. Yeah, I might as well juggle.
All right.
All right, we knew you would sooner or later.
That's why you were leaving 3 apples there, right?
Oh,
Wow.
Is that a railroad skill?
Railroad, yeah, railroad.
Now, while you juggle, do your skit.
Okay. Which one?
I'll be the disheveled dressed man.
Shall
Shall
we? Say there, young fella. How long you been dressed that way?
We're now gonna have applesauce.
Would you like to learn how to do this?
Very much, sir.
Let's see your hands. Well, my God, it doesn't look like your hands have been worse than the coon's age. Are your hands clean? Are your hands as clean as mine?
You mean that in
That's what
a legal sense of the word?
Yeah.
Applesauce.
In a moral and legal sense.
Landed in the bush where the
Did it land right in
Right in the
the
tree.
apple tree?
yeah,
The tree is haunted,
it'll eat you up. I guess we got it.
This is a really nice gesture.
Rick needs to sign that.
Oh,
Didn't get an opportunity yet.
okay, good.
I'll get you, yeah.
I got one in my pocket.
If you need some help, if you don't know what to say, why?
Yeah, we'll dictate.
Or I could help.
Dave typed up a few entries before it came tonight in case.
Pull those out, would you?
Yeah. My credentials?
No, some entries.
Entries?
Entries, yeah.
Did anybody else come prepared with some reflections which you would like to share in a meditative vein?
Or any other vein.
Well, I think I've heard from everybody here. Unless somebody's feeling we need to say more.
I haven't said a whole lot, but then.
But that's enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about you, Joe.
I'm glad to.
No, I mean that seriously. I'm not joking. 'Cause you don't need to use a lot of words. You don't need embellish.
Are you implying that some of us do?
Mhm.
Who
I
were you
think he is.
comparing him to?
No, were you inferring that from what I was saying?
No, I was implying it.
Oh, you were implying.
From what you were saying.
Well, it wasn't me. It must have been you. Would you like to go out and have a cigarette with me?
Yeah, very much.
Or do it now?
Sure. Can we turn the camera off?
We can. I
I think
can.
we should follow that.
Could we take the camera with?
Take a camera, watch them.
Dave and John now leave the house to go commit lung cancer.
We need to pick up the glow of the cigarette.
Let's go. I got some cigarettes here.
What do you got?
I got it.
Beth Williams and the guy from Coach are reunited, and it feels so good in the Sidney Funnyman Poitier film, Stir Crazy.
I came in for a hernia operation. They castrated me by mistake.